Hi, and good afternoon, everyone. Special good afternoon to parents, who I like to call the superstars of the age, because our role is so important and powerful and profound. And maybe that's why I decided to wear my Superwoman t-shirt this afternoon as I'm joining in this conversation as a parent to talk about how we as parents can create that narrative that we want for our family. You know, it is said that there are two important dates in life: the date that we were born and the date that we understand why. But in between there could be any distance in space. It could be as short as the first breath that a baby takes, or as long as decades. And this afternoon, I want to go through some steps and some approaches broadly to give an idea of how we go about creating our own narrative. And I'll start with this first slide. Yes, this one. And what you'll see here is what looks like a blank canvas. Because when I started my Create Your Narrative workshop, this is a picture that I had in mind as to where the journey on creating our own narrative began. How we understand our why. A blank canvas, waiting for us to make a mark for all the world to see, right? I don't think I was right. Spoiler alert, I was wrong. Because the more I went into designing the workshop, I realized that we really don't start with a blank canvas, you know. What we start with looks more like this. Yes, that's right. It looks like a sketch. We see in trees, we see in mountains, we see in clouds. And what that represents is the canvas of life that we are born into. It represents the families, our school, our sense of spirituality. And coming from the Caribbean, it represents, you know, the way we interact. Family, relatives, cousins is a big thing for us. So it gives a perspective. So when we are born, we're born into a perspective. We're born into a situation that exists. But look at the picture closely. What we see is black and white. And that's for a reason. And that reason is along the way, we are given the creative mandate to give these sketches and these pictures shape, context, color. And that was an aha moment for me, but it's not something new. So for example, Mozart, at the age of 4, he realized, hey, he is a piano genius. But his background, the sketch, his life that he was born into was one of music. So his father was a musician and he gave him piano lessons. Unfortunately, not all of us immediately know what our giftings and talents are. And so, for example, there's a guy, ladies, that we have quote unquote fallen in love with. And his name is Colonel Sanders. Yes, you know, the KFC guy. And Colonel Sanders, he was actually retired when he founded the franchise KFC. And in his sketch, in his background, what caused him to get to that point was that there was a situation of depression in that time, so finances were low. It was much like the pandemic that we're having right now. Work was hard to come by. But he realized from his earlier life as a young boy growing up, he had to help the family out. So he used to be in the kitchen a lot. So when I say this black and white sketch, it gives perspective. It helps us as we go through our life to see where our areas of potential are. Because when you look at this picture, I'm sure immediately you're thinking, those mountains should be green, maybe brown. Or the water should be blue. That is what happens as we go through life. And it's all part of us getting towards creating our own narrative. But let's look at this next slide. And in this one, what are we seeing? Wow, color, trees in green. Oh, did you notice that there was a flower there before? In the bottom right-hand corner, we see the picture coming together. Now remember, the sketch is the background of a life that we're born into. The one that we're seeing in color is when we realize, what our potential is. So we start to give color to the things that we're good at, the things that we're strong at. That's the potential. And so what you find is when you find your potential, you get a flow and it brings you into your passion. And think about Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, Barack Obama, when they found their passion in terms of, being the voice for people, they found their flow. The same thing would have happened to Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister, Dr. Eric Williams. When he found his passion in terms of serving, he created a party, formed a party, and went to hold the reins of government. Interestingly, in his background, his father was a post office official. And I'm saying that for us to realize that we're not limited by the background. Remember that sketch. The sketch is black and white, but it's not there to limit us. It's there to help us to stir our consciousness to go forward, to create something that we were born to do. And so we're moving on to another slide here. And this slide shows us why I believe no matter what our story looks like, no matter where we began, no matter where we started, within us, within our children, even our family, lies potential, passion, purpose, and that when we explore it, when we allow ourselves to get into it, we find our narrative for life. A lot of people sometimes are not sure when I say create your own narrative, they think it's something you write. Your narrative really is about who you were created to be. And that's very important for us to know and understand. I want us to go back and look at that picture where the three pictures are there together. Because I want us to see the beauty of that sunshine. But to get from perspective to potential and passion to purpose and power, you know what happens? Sometimes we get tripped up. The crayon may have broken when we were trying to get green in for the leaves of the tree. Or you know what? Someone may have taken that crayon away from us. What am I talking about? That dream, that desire, that idea that you have pulsing within you or your children. And what we need to do is guard it and protect it, believe in it, and pursue it. so that, as we see in this next picture, no matter where our story begins, our narrative is impactful. Our narrative is powerful. It adds to our lives in a phenomenal way. And as I look at the picture, I find it so soothing because of the impact on me. And just as you, as a parent or your child, you are here to create a phenomenal impact. Don't let what you were born into or the situation that may exist, maybe even now, deter you. Colonel Sanders, KFC, a worldwide household name. He started at the age of 65. How old are you now? I was close to 40 when I realized that part of what God gave me was to create my own narrative and to share it with the world. Looking back at the three pictures, it's easy for us to see the differences in each one. And as it relates to our children, few children are born with extraordinary gifts like Mozart. But all children, and even us as parents, we have natural giftings. And those things help us to understand why we were born. As parents, I want to challenge us to encourage our children in their unique and abundant potential. Let us take our role in nurturing them seriously. Let us be their greatest supporters so that they can go forward and create their own narrative boldly and with great confidence. And this next slide here, something I want to leave with you. Remember that you are amazing. You are a superpower as a parent, and because you are a superpower as a parent and you are amazing, so too are your children. Help them to create their own narrative. Thank you.
My name is Pamela Ramcharan, and I use the Excellence Journal. This is a wonderful book for parents, for children, for teens, and for young adults. And you know something? This book is a wonderful way by which parents can work together with their children when it comes to their schoolwork, and even also keeping on top and updated on their children's performance during the term. It is also a great opportunity for parents to interact with their children, spend more time with them as it comes to studying and even interacting with their children, discussing what is going on in the school environment. And the journal is actually a chance for the children to let the parents know the difficulties that they may be facing, and for the parents as well, in getting that information from their children, they can have great interactions with the teachers to find out strategies and ways in which they can assist the children to improve in their work. And one part that I love so much about it is that planning at the beginning of the school term. I think that is wonderful, because as for me, being a parent of children who are into the secondary school system, it is sometimes difficult for us to keep up with what our children are doing, particularly for those of us who have more than one child. And planning before the beginning of the term with this journal, ensuring that we know what the children have to do, the work that will be covered during the term, and I am just recommending this Excellence Journal for each and every parent out there. Whether you are a parent, whether you are a guardian for your children, you will not regret it.